over again. Good afternoon, this is John with the Pine Tree. Hey, this is going to be another one of our little tech updates, or a little kind of a little look at what is going on with mobile phones, some of the other technology stuff, and it will also be a second part of a little review we were doing of a HTC 6800 cell phone from Golden State Cellular. If you've been following phones at all in the last couple years, you've noticed all the frenzy of the iPhones and everything else. And I think, but in some ways, now is really becoming the golden age of the phones. They are just getting ready to introduce a new 3G line of the iPhones, which will have higher data rates. The Windows mobile market, or the non-Apple phone market, the vendors are really working hard to do some phones that for a lot of people equal or surpass the iPhone. And also, you find the operating systems on these are maturing, so they become almost like a full-fledged little laptop computer in your pocket. Now, the one that we've had the pleasure of working with for the last month or so is, I'm going to turn off camera here and just hold the phone up, is a very small Windows mobile. It's an HTC 6800 smartphone. It will actually work in this mode if you hold it like a regular phone with a very nice touch screen, or you can also open up the screen, turn it this way, and it becomes a very nice full-fledged almost like a multimedia or small laptop. You have a full QWERTY keyboard, a nice bright 320 by 240 screen that you can browse the web on very efficiently, and also nice to input text. This is really a Swiss Army knife of devices. It will also, and we'll go ahead and open up a web browser here. It browses the web just fine. Oh, let's see here. Let's go to one of those websites, thepinetree.net. There you go. And also, just a little bit more on the interface. Now, this one is, this style phone, and a lot of people think for what more some would term as power users and things like that, is a very, very versatile device. It has a touch screen, but it also has a stylus for inputs, so you can do precise inputs there. It is a full-blown PDA with calendar, full rendering, all kinds of things like that. Also, if you switch over here, it also is full multitasking, like we have a web browser open, but let's say you need to make a phone call. Plop over to the phone application with a small button right there. Nice, easy to dial buttons right on the screen. You want to go back to your web page you're looking at, there it is. And you'll see it's a very usable browser. I'm not saying you're going to replace all of your web browsing on it, but the very nice thing on it is that for some areas of the world, and even, for example, like Japan, I think we mentioned this earlier, in Japan last year, for one of the first times, is computer sales actually dropped. And what they are surmising on some of that is, for a lot of people, they're actually thinking if they have a laptop that's a couple years old, it's good enough. They're starting to do more and more stuff on their phone so that the device, or the phone, so to speak, becomes more and more the primary tool. And again, also to the Swiss Army knife motif of this one, this does have a micro SD card slot right there, and it will hold, we know of one person that has an 8 gig card in there. He basically has his entire iPhone, entire music library, just like on an iPod, but it can also be much more. Now the touch, and we're going to go into some of the touch screen stuff in a second. Now there's some of the new ones and all the touch screen ones, and those are a very nice interface, but they're still, for a lot of people who are power users and uses a lot of stuff, I think that devices like this one will continue on. And also, I'm going to show you another device that's kind of an extension of this theme that is probably going to be the rage, the new rage coming out. Now, one of the things I wanted to show you is, and this is why these devices are so cool. Now, this one has a full-blown full-blown Windows Media library. So let's see here. Let's actually open a file, and here we go. And what do you know? You can actually, this one's playing from the card, but this device also has a full Wi-Fi capability, so you can actually use the stuff. Now, let's go to full screen there, and we'll show you this. Now, you can see, this is kind of fun. Now, like this is, whoops, there we go. And we're in full screen there. There's our little nightly news program that you may have seen that we're actually running straight from the device. You can slide forward, go to full screen. There we go. And it's a very nice watchable. And if you're looking at the 320 by 240, that is a default format size for most of the video clips on the web that you see, for a lot of them. And the quality's good. And I know for a lot of these things now, or phones like this one, is we were seeing some stuff online that these become impromptu babysitters. If you're a harried parent, with an 8 gig card, you could load a full movie on here. So let's say you're stuck someplace and your 5-year-old is starting to bounce off the walls. You can start a movie for him on the phone, sit back and let him just sit there and watch the whole movie. All right. And wanted to go through and some of the things that are coming down the pike. Now, one of the sites that we have right now on the screen here is the HTC USA site. Now, if you're not familiar with HTC, they're a phone manufacturer that makes a lot of phones for a lot of different companies. And in some instances, you may be using an HTC phone and may not even know it. But we'll run the little preview here that they're actually running on their website of some of the different things, and then we'll go in and talk about some of them. And this little video only runs about 30 seconds. And it's romancing the finger, so to speak, and let your fingers do the walking. Because I think a lot of people are thinking one of the reasons they're probably hyping this is, and this is their new touch phone, which we'll go and talk about that in a sec, which we saw yesterday. Golden State's Gerald Slocum showed us one of those yesterday. It's a very cool device, and we'll go and look at some of the product lines that are available. Because what you're starting to see now in a lot of phone vendors, for example, iPhone for Apple, one that's got all the rage, they'll try to sell you an iPhone. And that's the one device they make, one size fits all, so to speak, and try to show, and it is a very good device without a doubt. But lots of times what you'll find from some of the other vendors is they have lots of different devices that are tailored to specific niches. So you may actually find that a device from a manufacturer like HTC or something will actually be a closer fit to what you need. For example, with what we do in the news environment, a phone like the 6800 with the keyboard, a full browser, all the different ports, the Wi-Fi, all the different things, a Swiss Army knife device is exactly what we need, because lots of times if you're doing something fast-paced, you don't have your other camera with you, we can actually shoot some video clips or actually some photos, upload them to our website instantly from the road with the built-in data connection, and actually work on the fly. And obviously I'm not going to say that the quality would be as good as what we could do with, say, a larger format camera on our laptop, but it's quick and you can get it done. And you can get it all done in a device that fits in your pocket. Now this is distinctly different, because with the QWERTY keyboard you have a normal typing thing, whereas some of the some of the touch interfaces. An interesting thing on this one, kind of go back to the Swiss Army knife motif, is there's actually ways to load the touch interface, which is the rolling touch interface that is being found on some of the newer devices on this device as well, because it's still the same size or similar size screens, similar size functions. So from a hardware perspective, since this is a a mobile device, sometimes you may have to do a little digging, a little tweaking, but you can actually load lots of different things on this. And one of the upgrades will be coming to the Windows mobile system soon. Is the ability to run Flash. Now, Flash, you may, if you're not up on the technical buzzwords of some of the things on the web, is Flash is the default format that sites like YouTube, more and more sites, and we're going to start doing more Flash on our site as well, run. It is kind of the predominant format for just on-demand video on the web. If you're looking at live streaming video on the web, Windows Mobile still holds, or Windows Media still holds a predominant, a dominant share of just pure streaming. So if you're watching something live or recorded from a live feed for really almost instantaneous playback, odds are that is Windows Media. But that's changing. As Flash matures, there's now some formats that would work for live streaming of Flash as actual on, as playback as well. And the nice thing about that is upcoming soon is the Windows mobile devices and a lot more of your cell phones will start supporting Flash natively. So that means that sites like YouTube and Google Video would actually work on a phone without the need for a third-party plugin or some other application to play YouTube videos. For example, on an iPhone now you can play the YouTube videos, but it's with like a YouTube application that plays the FLV files, which are the same files which is the file format that YouTube uses. And I think that's still a little bit clunky because a lot of people don't want to have to fuss with stuff. They just want it to play and they want it to work. And that is where I think that going forward, more of your phones will become much more like little laptops. You just open them up and basically anything you want to do with them, they'll just be able to do. All right, now let's look at some of the different product lines from HTC and talk about these. And the reason we're focusing on some of these is, yes, Golden State Cellular is one of our sponsors, but they're also a good local company that in some ways is driving a lot of the technology innovation in our area. They have data services that are working very well in all of Calaveras County. They actually have more cell coverage than and many more towers than any other provider. They're a local company. And the other interesting thing on that is as we look forward towards more mobile broadband, bringing broadband to more rural areas, they're also working with and participating in some of the ATCA groups and everything as far as actually to seeing if they can get some of the grant funding to roll out higher speed wireless and things like that to more of the rural areas in our area. So some of the things we're talking to is devices that would be available from a local carrier like somebody such as a Golden State Cellular, but also from some of the HTC devices, yes, you're going to see some from Verizon, different things like that as well. So, all right, here we go. And let's look at a couple more of these. Now, this is the HTC site, and one of the fun things, now this is the touch. Now, this is the one thing they're really, and we saw this yesterday. It's a very nice, very cool little device. And we'll just go look at their, and just a little bit of overview from their site. All right, easy to use touchscreen with the HTC TouchFlow technology, and that's what they're calling theirs. It's a very, and what you're finding with a lot of these interfaces, they start relying on gestures. So if you're going to pinch pinching fingers together, doing wipes with a thumb, for changing pages, very that type of a format. And this one runs Windows Mobile as well. This is a Windows Mobile 6 phone. And so hardware-wise, it's going to be very similar to something like we see with the 6800. It's a little smaller. It's a little shorter this way. For example, if you look at the screen is a touch wider and a touch smaller and a touch shorter than the 6800. It is a little bit thinner, and it does fit very nicely in the phone. Also a shirt pocket, different things like that. So it's a very nice format. And this is upcoming and we looked at it a little bit yesterday. It's a very, very cool phone. I still think there's room in the market though for both. And like we were saying, is the nice thing about with devices and companies like this is they're not trying to shoehorn you in one specific design and keep you there. For example, for our needs, something like the 6800, and I would say if you're a power user, something like the 6800 may actually be better with a fuller QWERTY keyboard, but it is a little bit bigger device. If you want something small and quick, intuitive, easy interface, it'll fit in your shirt pocket. This is the Touch is the brand new one that's been out on the market, just rolling out now, and it is available locally. So this is something that's a very, 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 very fun device and a nice device. And other couple little things we wanted to go over that's really kind of a fun thing is, now this is another one of those, I guess a crossover device. Now this is one that we were reading some reviews on a couple months ago, and there's a lot of people who are kind of excited about this. Now this is called an HTC Shift. Now what this is a very small, it has a 7-inch screen, so it's not exactly something that you're going to fit in your pocket per se, but it's more, like maybe a bulky iPhone, like a big bulky phone. So some of the pockets it would fit in. But the fun thing on this one is, the interesting thing is this has a 7-inch screen, and what they're billing this is really as a laptop replacement, because it is it has the full QWERTY keyboard, very similar to this. It also tilts up, very laptop-like, as you see it there, something similar to this but tilts up there, but with a much bigger screen. And the interesting thing on this one is this runs a hybrid operating system, the fact that it runs Windows Mobile, so it'll work up to, for like 3 days on standby. And so you can work up to Windows Mobile, you're using the Windows, and so with the same operating system that you'd have on your phone, you can check your email, browse the web, do some other things on standby, but if you need to, it also runs Windows Vista. So you have a full Vista computer that you can actually load up, run everything you need to run on it, and these devices will have various data connectivity. So regular data connectivity, like you would see through an actual cell connection, and then it also has Wi-Fi, everything else. And I think it takes the and you can make phone calls through it, but that's not its primary purpose. But in a pinch, for example, if you're running Bluetooth on this with a Bluetooth device like this, leaving it in your backpack or in a cargo pocket on your pants, using your Bluetooth headset, this would work fine as a phone, albeit a very big one. But if you're looking at carrying one device in the future, something like this is really cool, because this is a full-blown Windows Vista laptop. It's also a Windows mobile device with integrated, basically a plethora of connectivity options, Wi-Fi, cellular. And we're pretty excited about this. And this one runs, it's available for pre-order now. And this one actually, I think the retail price on this one's going to be about $1,400. And I don't know if you'll be able to get deals or bundle deals with cell providers, because it's not primarily a phone, although it will work as a phone without a doubt. So that's kind of the fun thing. So we wanted to show you that and some of the things that's coming down the pike. And also, it also makes it where phones like the Touch and also the 6800, it makes them very versatile devices, because they're similar to that, except that you would be running on the Windows Mobile. And that one, where you only have to boot up into Vista when you really need to. But the nice thing, if you boot up into Vista, then you have all your applications, all your regular normal email, basically your desktop Vista applications off running Microsoft Office, various other things on that one. But and a very, very fun little tool. All right, let's look at a couple more things. And let's see. And this is the touch there. And where is, let's see, all devices. And here we go. And this is their entire product line. Now this is where they make different types of phones for different carriers as far as that run on different different versions. Now it's kind of an interesting one on, we spoke with somebody that was running a, this is a device that's kind of interesting that you may have seen. And this is AT&T runs, AT&T has this device. Now they call it the AT&T Tilt. And interesting, it's the exact same device as this one, except that the screen actually tilts. And we were looking, and we talked to a man that is actually running this, running the Tilt, and he actually says it's basically identical to the 6800, but sometimes more isn't always better in that fact that because the Tilt version actually makes it harder to type. So he actually uses his in a flat mode more often than not. But that is the exact same device that is available from a different carrier from AT&T. That one, and that's pretty much it. Wanted to go with a little bit more on the phones, but also want to talk about the new Touch. And we're actually the nice thing about these is we've talked to a lot of people on these over the last few weeks. We've talked to several people that are using the devices. Talked to one man yesterday that he loves it because he can have and he does a small technology company in the area, and he can have basically everything at his fingertips in his pocket, and he's so. And I think is an especially interesting thing on tighter economic times. All of us have to be more productive. All of us have to be able to get more done in less time. And one of the best ways you can do that is with a device like this, because what it can do is it can turn moments that we all have to stand in line, we have to wait, or if you're unexpected waiting times, instead of pulling out a laptop thing, what you can do, you can actually take out the phone, open up here, and let's see. And also, as I think is more and more people are paying attention to how their websites render on phones. I know we're going to increasingly be on ours, because we are now starting to get a measurable amount of traffic from phones. It's not, obviously, it's a very small portion, but it is a portion that we can tell every month that is growing. And this is one to where, for example, we brought up our site earlier. Now, if you're looking at the local news market here, now like here's the KVML website for the radio station over in Sonora. Their site coming up there. So there's lots of different ways to use your phone. And the nice also, let's go touch one more, a couple more little things here. And if you go back over to your programs, and for example, and this is into your program interface. You have an Adobe Acrobat Reader, Google Maps. We have a very nice Google Map application. Different web browsers. Actually, we have loaded one that's called Minimo, which is a mobile version of Mozilla Firefox. A camera application that takes very nice pictures. Office Mobile. Here we go. Let's go to open up Word Mobile. There we go. And lo and behold, here we go. There is a Golden State Cellular news release that we got from Daryl Slocum that is actually on the phone in Word, so we can edit that, do whatever you'd like there. And the interesting thing on that one as well is, let's open another here one. And this is another news release here. And let's say you're opening it up on the device this way. You want to really get some more work done. You can turn it this way and then really start typing in it at fairly nice speeds right in there. And that way, and since with the full browser, you can attach these and send these even if you use, and a little bit about the email on devices like this is, yes, they have a very good built-in email client that if you're using Outlook on a computer at home, you can actually keep them synced up and use there. But if you don't use Outlook and you use a an online mail service, like for example, like we do with our domain. Now there's different lots of ones, Hotmail, Gmail, all those, and a lot of those have their own little built-in widget that you can load on the phone, which makes them more convenient. But for our purposes there, since we're using it primarily out of the office, you can actually use your webmail client from most or almost any of your major ISPs now, right on the phone without doing anything, because it has a full-featured browser. Like here's our webmail. You bring it up, you log in, and one of the things that we found is a pretty good productivity tool is, let's say you run most of your mail on your regular desktop. When you're gone out of the office, you can use your webmail client. If the only thing you have stored in there is the things that you don't see while you're out of the office, it makes it nice because that way in a mobile environment you can log in. It's logging in now, and actually have it to where you only see the emails in your inbox while you're out on the road that you didn't pull onto your desktop machine. So anyway, that's it. And we think these are really great devices. We would recommend them unflinchingly, because we've talked to, I would say, probably 15 or 20 people with a device like this or very similar to it. These also have a very good radio, and I think probably the similar thing you can say for the new Touch as well, is that the days of the smartphone of having an inferior radio, because face it, some of the earlier models of Trios were very good. What I guess the rub on those is they were a nice PDA, but lots of times just the coverage on actual phones was, in some ways, a little bit lacking. And that's different on these. Let's see. Oh, for example, we have one email. We have one email in our inbox here. This is our webmail. Let's look in. It's even got an attachment. So here we go. Let's see. Here is our attachment. Let's open up our attachment. There you go. So we're opening up our attachment that we received in our mail. And yes, open it after, and it is pulling it in now, and it was in Word. It was in Word Mobile. So there we go. Very nice. So we thank you very much for having a look, and we'll also be going on some other little things that are not exactly phone related as we go forward. But we think we're really excited, and I also think that we'd like to thank sponsors and things like Golden State Cellular, because they invest heavily in driving the technology sector of our economy forward, and they've been doing so through their parent companies and through some of the phone companies the local phone companies that back them. And go stop by one of their stores and check out some of the new phones. Not only the full-fledged PDA phones like this one, the new Touch that is a very sleek, user-friendly interface, and have a good afternoon. And we'll play that little video on our way out. There we go.